Okay, so translations. And what we're going to actually see about translations, I always think of them as slides. So slides, like if you think about a slide, you're going down a slide. So you're just moving from the top of a slide down to the bottom of the slide. So you're just moving. I'm going to use this stuff. It's called patty paper. I don't know if, I can't remember if we've used it or not before. So I'm going to use patty paper. Pens usually don't work on patty paper. And mechanical pencils sometimes don't either, just because of how skinny it is. So notice this is the XY coordinate. I'm actually going to just draw the triangle for this one. So I'm going to draw a triangle A, triangle B, triangle C. What's nice about patty paper is I'm also going to mark those points on the back, because what ends up happening, if you notice, when I mark the point on the back, it will actually make that other point. So I'm marking the points on the front and the back. Okay, so this is called the preimage. So I'm going to actually, I've already taped this in, or glued this in. I'm going to go to the back and I'm going to do a little bit of vocabulary that we need to know. So the preimage a preimage is the original. And we would call it something like A, B, C. Triangle ABC. Okay, and then when we have the image, it's after a transformation has occurred. I almost wrote a U and then I tried to save it and make it into a C. So an image is after a transformation has occurred. And so if we were talking about moving triangle ABC, we put that right there, the apostrophe, and then B and C. So that symbol right there means it is the new point. You will see sometimes where they do it like that, where they put two of them, and that means the point, the new point after two transformations. Okay, that says transformations. And this is called prime. So that would be called A prime, like Amazon Prime. But you read this as, so this would be triangle ABC, this would be triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. And that's how you would read it. Okay? So that's just some vocabulary that I wanted to cover before we did other stuff. Okay, so notice this is triangle 1, so we're going to label this triangle 1. And notice the points are at 1, 3, so point A is at 1, 3. Remember, move along the X, then the Y. And then point B is 3, 4, so I'd move along the X-axis 3, and then it's up 4, and then point C is 4, 1. All right, so now translate the pre-image 2 units down, and that will make the image. So I have my triangle, and notice it says 2 units down. So every point on this triangle, hopefully you can see this well enough, is going to move down 1, down 2. And what's nice about patty paper is when I do that, you can kind of see that it transferred those points, and that's why I marked it on the back. But, so I'm just going to say, it says mark it in blue. So I'm going to move A down 2, and this is called A prime. I'm going to move B down 1, down 2, and that would be called B prime. And then C is down 1, down 2, and of course that's C prime. And then you can use any straight edge to connect that. I'm just going to use the edge of a Post-it. You could use a ruler. Oh my goodness, that was so silly of me. So silly. I'm connecting the points A, B, and C. I am so sorry. So we have A prime, B prime, C prime. Now let's list the points of A prime. So A prime is at 1, 1. B prime is at 3, 2. C prime is at 4, negative 1. C prime is at 4, negative 1. Now, I want you to look at these points. We have x, y, x, y, x, y, x, y, x, y. From 1, 3 to 1, 1, what do you notice changed? From 3, 4 to 3, 2, what do you notice changed? From 4, 1 to 4, negative 1, what do you notice changed? So hopefully you noticed that the y value changed, because when you think about it, when I move this triangle down, my y value is changing. I didn't move left or right, so I'm not moving along the x-axis. I'm just moving along the y-axis. Okay, now let's do a green one, or the next one. So this is translate the pre-image 3 units left. And then it says make this one green, so that's why I picked up my green pen. Alright, so now we're going to move 3 units left. So I'm going to take my pre-image, remember that's the original one, and I'm going to move it 3 units left. So that would be 1, 2, 3. And again, you really don't have to use the patty paper, but it's always good to use it if you need to. Okay, so now this moved 3 units left, so this is A, and this was our A, this was A prime, so now we have to do A double prime, B double prime, so notice I'm just putting 2 of those apostrophes, and then this is C double prime. And then I'm going to connect. Okay, now let's list the points for A double prime. So it's at negative 2, 3. It's at 3, nope, sorry. It's at 0, 4. C double prime is at 1, 1. Now, since we moved the pre-image, I want you to look this time from this point to this point. Notice this time which value changed and which value stayed the same. So this one, the 1 became negative 2, the 3 stayed 3, the 3 moved to 0, the 4 stayed 4, the 4 moved to 1, and 1 stayed 1. because remember, we didn't move up or down any. We didn't move up or down any, we just moved left. So we moved along the x-axis. We didn't move up or down, we moved along the x-axis. Okay? Now let's do the last one. Notice this one's going to be orange. And it says translate the preimage. So again, go back to the original. 2 units up and 1 unit right. So that means, and this time I'm not going to use the patty paper because you won't always have access to it. So I'm going to take this preimage, or the preimage, and I'm going to move 2 units up and then 1 unit right. So I'm going to move 2 up, 1, 2. So I moved 1, 2, and then 1 unit right. So that's the new point A, and we call it, or have to mark it as triple prime. Then B, we're going to go 2 units up, 1, 2, so 1, 2, and then 1 unit right. So that's B triple prime. And C, again, go back to the original, go 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1 unit right. So that would be our C double prime. Let's go ahead and mark down those points. So point A triple prime is at 2, 5. And then B triple prime is at 4, 6. And C triple prime is at 5, 3. And then we can draw that triangle. So there are quite a few triangles on this at the same time, but again, this one moved left, this one moved down, this one moved up and right. Okay, so translating left or right will affect, so when I move left or right, how does the coordinate change? Well, the x value changes. When I translate up or down, so when I go up or down, your y coordinate changes. If you do both, like if you do up and right, then both values change. Notice 1, 3 to 2, 5. 1 to 2 added 1. 3 to 5 added 2. So now let's look at this example. If I'm going to translate the point 3, 7, left 2 and up 4. So I'm going to use purple and just so that you can see it on a grid. So I'm going to take the point 3, 7, and that would be way up here. And I'm going to go left 2, 1, 2, and up 4. Sometimes your graphs aren't going to be big enough, especially when you start at 3, 7 and then you move left and up. So sometimes it's easier to just use some rules. So to find the new point, we moved left. So if you think about moving left, your values are going to get smaller. When we moved left here, it was 1 minus 3. We did minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. So when you move left, you subtract from the x value. So this is the x value. So you would take 3 and subtract 2. So 3 minus 2 would be 1. Then, if we have the 7, and I'm just going to mark it funny like that, 7 is the y value. Well, that moves it up or down. Well, when you move up, you add. So if I have 7, I'm going to add 4, which gets me 11. Okay? So it might be good for you to write somewhere, and I would maybe do it on the next page. When you move left, you subtract the x value. When you move right, you add x value. When you move down, subtract y value, and up you add to the y value. Okay, so now let's do this one right here. So we're going to take a quadrilateral, which a quadrilateral is just a four-sided shape. So if you actually graphed all of these points, you would see a quadrilateral that looked kind of like that. And we're going to move 3 down and 1 right to all of these points. So point A is at 5, 7. B is 2, 7. C is -4, 1. And D is 8, -2. And I apologize that this video is getting long. It's just hard when you're starting out a brand new unit. You have a bunch of vocabulary to cover. So when I move 3 units down, that's this way. So that's going to change the y value. So I'm going to take this, and if I'm moving down, I'm going to subtract 3 and subtract 3. So 7 minus 3 is 4. 7 minus 3 is 4. 1 minus 3 would be -2, and you can type that in a calculator. 1 minus 3 is -2. -2 minus 3. Negatives always mess you guys up, but if I owe you $2 and I take away 3 more, or I owe you 3 more, so I owe you 2 and I owe you 3, means I owe you 5. So that was when we changed all of the y values, because it was up or down. And then 1 right, 1 unit. So if you think about going right, start from the origin and move right, that would be adding 1. So I'm going to add 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. 2 plus 1 is 3. -4 plus 1. If I owe you $4 and I give you $1, I still owe you $3. 8 plus 1 is 9. So this would be your new point. You can always graph instead, can always, let me write that, can always graph instead of, we call these the rules, but it's up to you. I personally just like using the rules.